I've been a single mom for a little over 3 years now. My daughter, Lily, is 6. We're not rich, but I found us a small duplex in a decent neighborhood. Quiet, older homes, mostly families and retirees. The upstairs unit in our duplex had been empty since we moved in. The landlord said the previous tenant left the state and hadn't leased it again. It was just us. Or so I thought. The first time I heard it, I brushed it off. I was lying in bed reading, maybe around 1 a.m., and I heard footsteps. Soft, slow footsteps directly above me. It was a steady rhythm, like pacing. I remember freezing. I even looked out the window to see if maybe someone was walking on the roof. Nothing. Next day, I called the landlord. He said the upstairs unit was still locked and hadn't been accessed since I moved in. No signs of a break-in. Probably the pipes or the building settling, he said. But the sounds kept coming. Every night around the same time. The creaking above my bed. Sometimes it was just a few steps. Sometimes it sounded like someone was dragging something across the floor. I started losing sleep. Even Lily said one morning, "Mommy, the man upstairs walks funny." That sent a chill down my spine. After a week of hearing these noises, I snapped. I called maintenance and demanded they check it out. The guy came with his ladder and master key, went upstairs, and after a few minutes came back down pale as a ghost. "There's no furniture," he said, "but someone's been up there." He found signs of recent activity. Food wrappers, an old mattress pushed into the corner. And worse, there was a small crawl space above the ceiling that connected both units. He opened the crawl hatch and found him, a man, barefoot, dirty, curled up in the dark like an animal. He didn't speak, just stared. Next to him was a notebook. Inside the notebook was page after page of handwritten notes, our daily routine, my schedule, Lily's school timings, what we watched on TV, when I showered, what groceries I brought home. He'd been living above us for weeks. The police came and took him away. No ID.
No explanation.
Just said he was being held for trespassing and psychiatric evaluation. I couldn't sleep for days after. Even after they changed the locks, sealed the crawl space. I felt violated, like every inch of our life had been watched. But we tried to move on. I even let Lily sleep in my bed for a while. Then one night, about 2 weeks later, Lily woke me up and whispered, "Mommy, the man is back." I bolted up, heart racing. "What man, baby?" She pointed at the ceiling, and I heard it again. The soft, unmistakable sound of barefoot steps. We ran out of the house and called the cops. When they came, they searched the unit and the crawl space. Nothing, until one officer noticed something off about the wall in the upstairs closet. Part of it sounded hollow. They broke through and found a hidden space, a makeshift room, with blankets, cans of food, and pictures, printed photos, of me, of Lily, taken through cracks in the ceiling, and a second notebook. In this one, the entries weren't just observational. They were planning. Wait until she's asleep. Replace the girl. Become the family. He had never left. He was hiding deeper than we thought. Waiting. This time, they combed every inch of the property. Under the floorboards, inside the vents, behind the drywall. That's when they found the door to the crawl space that led even further back behind the old utility closet. Hidden by years of dust and debris. Inside wasn't just another hiding spot. It was a chamber, naked, shivering, eyes swollen from crying. She was maybe 15. Reported missing 2 months ago from the next county over. They said she'd been kept there the whole time. He wasn't just watching us. He was keeping her, torturing her, feeding her only when he left to scavenge. They think he watched our routines so closely to avoid getting caught, waiting for the perfect moment to take Lily. There were restraints nailed to the wall, a small mattress stained with things I don't even want to describe, and a girl, barely alive. They never found him again. After that night, we left the duplex. I broke the lease, moved into my sister's house across town. Lily started therapy. So did I. But sometimes, even now, when I lie awake at night, I swear I hear the ceiling creak. Just once. Like someone shifting their weight above me. And every time I wonder, what if he's still watching? What if he never left? I live in a quiet neighborhood just on the edge of the city. Not quite the suburbs, not quite the downtown mess. Just a calm place to exist. I work from home, I keep to myself, and my only real daily ritual is taking my dog, Marley, out for a walk late at night. It's peaceful, or at least it used to be. This story starts about a year ago. It was a Tuesday night, probably close to midnight. Marley and I were walking our usual route, down the street, across the park, and around the stormwater canal. There's this long stretch where you pass by these huge storm drains. Giant concrete mouths gaping open, covered in rusted grates. Always looked creepy even in daylight. At night, don't even get me started. Anyway, we were walking past one of them when Marley stopped, ears perked. I tugged at the leash, but he wouldn't move. Then I heard it. A baby, crying. I froze. It wasn't loud, but it was definitely there. Muffled, soft, like it was coming from inside the drain. I thought I was losing my mind. Marley was growling low now, hair bristling up his spine. I leaned closer, trying to see if someone had dumped a baby or something unthinkable. But all I saw was blackness. I called the non-emergency number and told them what I heard. They sent someone to check it out the next morning. That should have been the end of it. But it was only the beginning. Next day, I get a call. City crew found something. Not a baby, thank God. But something just as disturbing. They pulled out an old, used blanket, a half-burned duffel bag, and a wallet. Inside was an ID for a guy named Gerald Nash.
Sounded familiar.
I looked him up. Turns out Gerald Nash had been missing for almost 2 years. He was a registered sex offender. Served time for violent crimes against minors. A really bad dude. Police said he vanished after skipping parole check-ins. And then it gets worse. Deep in the drain, they found bones. Human bones. Scattered. No way to tell how long they'd been there without lab work. I remember the officer's face when he told me. Like even he hadn't seen something like this before. But here's the weird part. This is the part that never made it into the news. Even after the drain was sealed off. Even after the scene was cleared and everything taken away, the crying didn't stop. Neighbors started hearing it too. Always at night. Always from the same drain. Like whatever was down there wasn't finished yet. At first, I thought maybe it was just stuck in my head. You hear something creepy enough, and your brain plays tricks on you. But then my neighbor Rosa, tough lady, ex-military. She knocks on my door one night, pale as a ghost. Said she was walking her poodle near the same drain, and she heard it too. The crying. She didn't even know the full story. I hadn't told anyone, but she described the sound exactly. Said it made her stomach twist. Said it sounded more like mimicking a baby than a real one. Like someone trying to sound like a baby. We both went quiet. Neither of us wanted to say what we were thinking. But it was there, in the air, hanging over us like a shadow. I stopped walking Marley at night, started leaving lights on, checking the locks twice. I'd lie in bed and hear it, soft and distant, like the wind was carrying it straight through my walls. Every night around 2:17 a.m., same sound, same timing, like a loop. I reported it again. City sent another team to check the area. They removed some of the surrounding grates, set up wildlife cameras. Nothing. No animals. No wind tunnel effects. Just silence during the day. And crying at night. But then came the night I couldn't ignore it anymore. It was late. Again around 2 a.m. Marley started barking like crazy, clawing at the back door. I grabbed a flashlight, thinking maybe a raccoon was digging through the trash. I stepped out onto the back porch and listened, crying. But this time, it wasn't from the drain. It was closer, in my backyard. I slowly scanned the yard with the flashlight, heart pounding. That crying, soft and wet, was coming from behind the hedge near the fence. I stepped down, moving like I was in a dream. Marley was whining now, tail between his legs, hiding behind me. I edged toward the sound, raised my light, and I saw nothing. But the crying stopped. Dead silence. Then a whisper, right behind me, not in my ear but in my head. Come back down. I dropped the flashlight, ran inside, locked every door, called the police. They searched the yard. Again, nothing.
No footprints.
No signs of anyone. But they believed me this time. They had heard the stories. Officers had been getting calls from all over the neighborhood. Always the same sound. Always around 2:17 a.m. That's when I started digging deeper into Gerald Nash. Turns out Nash had been hiding out in our neighborhood for months before he disappeared. Rumor was he'd been squatting in storm tunnels, going in and out of the drainage system at night. There were even reports of a man seen crawling out of drains, like something feral. One woman, a nurse, swore she saw him dragging something behind him into the canal one night. She thought it was a bag of clothes. She never reported it. Until now. And remember those bones? Some of them didn't match Gerald Nash. Some were smaller, much smaller. The police launched a full-scale investigation, dug up half the storm system, found more evidence, rags, ropes, bones. They were trying to build a timeline, to see how many victims he had, and where his body was. But they never found him. Gerald Nash had vanished into the drains like a ghost. This story is about something that happened to me a while back. I still get chills thinking about it. It's probably the creepiest thing I've ever experienced. It started with something so simple, yet so wrong. I live alone in an old apartment building in the city. Nothing fancy, just me trying to keep my life together after a tough year. I was used to noises, old pipes, neighbors, the usual city sounds. But one night, something else started. At exactly 3:14 a.m., my doorbell rang. That alone was weird because I don't get visitors at night. I thought maybe it was a prank. But when I looked through my door's security camera, there was no one there. Just an empty hallway, silent except for the faint hum of the streetlights outside. I told myself it was a glitch. But then, the same thing happened the next night. And the night after that. Each time the doorbell would ring, just once. Sharp, clear, then silence. I started feeling like I was losing it. On the third night, I decided to stay awake. I sat by the door, watching the live feed on my phone. The clock ticked closer to 3:14 a.m. I held my breath. Then it rang. I peeked through the peephole. Still no one. The hallway was empty, cold, and the shadows seemed longer, darker. But when I glanced to the side, I swear I saw a quick flash, like something or someone had just moved past the camera's view. My heart jumped. I thought maybe someone was playing games. But who and why? I called my friend Mark, told him to keep an eye on my place from his window across the street. He promised he would. That night, when the doorbell rang again, Mark saw a figure standing just beyond the camera's sight. A person in a mask, pale, expressionless. Then they slipped away like a ghost. By the fourth night, I was terrified, but I had to know what was going on. So I did something stupid. I left my door cracked open, just a little, and hid behind the living room curtain with my phone in one hand and a kitchen knife in the other. I waited. The clock's digital numbers glowed 3:14 a.m. exactly. The door handle moved slowly, a soft creak. The door eased open just enough for a shadow to slip inside. I froze. The figure stepped in tall, wearing a smooth, featureless white mask that covered their entire face. They moved quietly, as if they didn't want to be heard. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. I gripped the knife tighter. They moved closer to the hallway, but then suddenly stopped, turned around slowly, and vanished. I blinked. Gone. No footsteps. No door slam. Just emptiness. I called the police immediately. They checked the building, asked neighbors, reviewed every security camera in the area. They told me what I already feared. This was a common break-in tactic. The masked figure was trying to make sure the house was empty or that I'd open the door. But they never found the person. And the doorbell? They found no tampering, no wiring issues. The camera? No glitches. Here's the thing, after that night the ringing stopped. But I still hear it. Sometimes, late at night, when everything is dead silent except my own breathing, I swear I hear the faintest ding ding ding, like a doorbell. But when I look, the hallway is always empty.
No footsteps.
No shadows, just that same icy silence. And sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I catch a flicker of white, like a mask, and I wonder, did that person really leave? Or are they still waiting just beyond my door? College dorms are never truly quiet. There's always music, laughter, footsteps at all hours. But I remember the first time I heard it. 3 soft knocks like fingertips tapping wood. It was around 2:30 in the morning, the end of midterm week. I was exhausted, half asleep at my desk trying to finish a research paper. At first I thought I imagined it. Just dorm sounds. I waited. Nothing. Went back to typing. Next night, same time. The 3 taps. I got up, looked through the peephole. No one. Just the stale fluorescent hallway light and a quiet corridor. I opened the door. Nothing. Not even a note. Just silence. It became routine. Every night, same time. 3 knocks. No more, no less. I even tried waiting by the door to catch whoever it was. But nothing. It was like the knocking only happened when I wasn't looking. At first, I joked about it to my roommate, but she just laughed it off and said it was probably some freshman playing around. But it didn't feel like a prank. It felt personal. One night, it changed. Same knock, same time. But this time, when I opened the door, something was there. Piece of paper. Plain white sheet. Typed. My full name. My student ID number. My entire class schedule. I felt cold. Like my insides froze up. I looked around. The hallway was still empty. But I knew someone had been there. And they knew everything about me. I called campus security. They asked if I'd received any threats. I hadn't. They checked the hallway cams, but said the camera outside my room had been malfunctioning for days. They offered to move me to another dorm, but I said no. I didn't want to show fear. I bought a cheap camera and installed it myself, pointing straight at the door. That night,
No knock.
and the next night, still nothing. I started to relax. Maybe whoever it was backed off. Maybe they saw the camera and decided it wasn't worth it. But exactly 1 week later, someone else on my floor vanished. Amy was my next-door neighbor. She was quiet, sweet, always offered me cookies when she baked. The kind of person you don't notice right away, but once you do, you feel lucky. She didn't come to class that morning, or the next. Her roommate reported her missing 2 days later. No signs of struggle. No personal items gone. Laptop still open on her desk, like she'd just stepped out and never came back. Security checked the footage. Nothing. No one saw her leave. And then I remembered something. The week before she disappeared, Amy told me she'd been hearing tapping at her door too. 3 knocks. She said she thought it was just her imagination. That night, I reviewed my camera footage for the past week. I scrolled through hours of nothing until I reached the night Amy disappeared. 2:30 a.m. My hallway. And there it was. Movement. Someone stepped into frame, but the camera glitched. Static lines. And when it cleared, the person was gone. Like they blinked out of existence. But I saw enough. A shape, tall, wearing black, hood over their head, and their hand, lifted. 3 knocks. On Amy's door, then gone. I sat frozen for almost an hour, the sound of those knocks echoing in my ears. I turned in the footage to the police. They took it seriously after Amy's disappearance. They pulled everyone in for questioning, even brought in FBI tech guys to clean up the video. They never figured out who it was. Said the glitch was unnatural, like it didn't match any known camera error, like the footage had been tampered with at a level beyond normal tech. And then I got the last message. It wasn't a knock this time. It was a text. Blocked number. 1 sentence. Knock knock. You looked too close. That night, I packed up and left campus. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't finish the semester. I never went back. But sometimes late at night I still hear it.